everybody, Pete here. If you've been following along on the 68, you know about the engine knock situation. So had the oil pan off, finally got it back on, all sealed up nice. Ran into a fuel pump leak, so I had to fix that. A couple other things. I'll put some questions in the video. I need some help if anybody's got any answers for me. He really came through on cleaning out that bee's nest out of the cylinder. You'll see that in there too. So if you can answer any of my questions, that'd be great. So without further ado, here we go. Hope you enjoy.
Well, those arches still contacted before the main part of the oil pan, but I just cinched it up slow and alternating around, and it sucked right up and seems to be pretty tight.
Good morning, everybody. About ready to try to flush that little mud dauber nest out of that cylinder, and really appreciate all you giving me some great suggestions. So the first thing we got is a vacuum hose to a reducer, and I slipped a piece of screen over that reducer so that just see if I could capture anything, see what I'm getting when I'm sucking out of there. So I reduced it from that down to the little piece of PVC, and then down to a piece of hose to put right outside the spark plug hole.
Well, I gently poked around in the cylinder with a piece of wire and tried to break off anything that was in there, and then I'm just trying to vacuum, see if I can get anything out. And I'm just rotating the cylinders around a little bit, try to break up some more of that mud nest if anything's left in there. This was the second time vacuuming that cylinder. And here I got all the plugs out. I'm tapping the starter the first couple times to make sure it's not jammed, and then I'm rotating it around to break up more nest. I had the vacuum nozzle jammed up against that number 6 cylinder spark plug hole just to suck anything out while it was rotating. Got quite a bit out on this try. It's all clumpy because I had the cylinder full of oil. Well, after many times vacuuming out that cylinder, this is the total haul I wound up getting. I think we did pretty good. I'm putting this gasket on dry with no Permatex because I'm going to flush out the whole cooling system and put thermostat in there later. And this is the first time cranking it over, do a leak check. If you listen real closely here, you can hear the gas leak dripping down on the ground underneath. Pretty good leak at the fuel pump, so here I'm just checking the torque on the outlet hose.
When I tried to start the 68 yesterday, I had a fuel leak right around the fuel pump. Couldn't really tell where it was coming from. Kind of looked like it was coming from this hard line that screws into the outlet fitting of the pump. So I pulled this line off and wire wheeled all this around here, and this looks pretty nasty. I don't know if it was making a good seal or not, and they were really wedged on there pretty good, but all the sealing surfaces look pretty nasty. So I went to a local Ace Hardware and picked up, this is an 8mm line, which is pretty darn within a human hair, I think, of 5/16, and they had 5/16 brass ferrules. So I pressed this off in my press on there pretty good. Now that it's been off and on, it can kind of slide off. So I pressed this off with my press, wire wheeled all this to get it all clean as I could possibly get it. And this is what I got. These are brass. Gonna go on there, and I'm gonna go down, and when you tighten it up, obviously it crushes this on there and creates a seal. So I'm gonna go down there, give it a try, see how it does. Okay.
Now the fuel line is not leaking with the new sleeve.
All right, we still got some fuel leaking from the fuel pump. So I guess it's got a ruptured diaphragm appears. I think I got a spare. I'll swap that out.
I'm going to use this brand new pump I've got on my 73. It's not being used right now, so put it to use.
All right, new fuel pump on, leak check number 2 here.
Everything looks good, no leaks. Well, we're good to try to start it. That smoke's from all the cylinders. They were all full of oil. You can also see the exhaust leaks because the smoke's coming out from the manifold. I don't have a choke cable yet, so I've got a piece of wire holding the choke closed. I'm just opening it.
I can still hear it now.
I'm going to put some before and after clips here so you can compare the sound before the rod bearing replace and after.
Pin? Maybe? I don't know, you tell me. Does it sound like a valve cap? It sounds like a piston, not main bearing or rod bearing. Or, sorry, rod bearing or wrist pin.
Hi everybody, Pete. Looks like we got ourselves a little bit of a bittersweet victory, if you want to call it that. There's still a knock there. Does sound not as loud. So fixing that rod bearing had to do a little bit, but I don't know if that was the root cause. So we're gonna have to continue digging into that. Got some notes here. Let's see. Yeah, so by all means, if you have any ideas on if you think the sound is more or less before and after, let me know what you think in the comments. And also, is it what's causing that knock? It could be multiple things, but the frequency of it kind of indicates rod bearing, which we replaced, or possibly the wrist pin. I don't see how that could be knocking, but maybe. And I didn't check the crank bearings while I was in there, so that could be it too. And then you know, a valve. I think valves are a little have a different higher pitched noise, I think. Let me know what you think in the comments. Also, temperature gauge. I noticed when I have the key turned off or the battery disconnected completely, the temperature gauge goes to full hot, all the way to the peg. But when I have it running, the temperature gauge was indicating a normal temperature. So I'm not sure what's going on there. I haven't done any kind of troubleshooting or research on that. Choke cable. I've been looking for, I think as long as I've owned this thing, every time I'm poking around on the internet, I'm looking for a choke cable, a used one. It's a 68, and I guess they're hard to find, even a generic or a universal choke cable. So if anybody has put a choke cable on their older FJ40 68-ish, maybe you let me know what you found and what you use. We gotta do brakes. I'm gonna do all the shoes all the way around. I before I took the brakes apart, the master cylinder and everything, I tried to bleed all the wheel cylinders, and only about half of them would bleed. But then I come to find out that my brake master cylinder was really messed up. So I don't know if I was getting good flow all the way to, out to the wheels. So I've rebuilt the brake master cylinder. It's reinstalled, so now I can try to bleed all the brake cylinders, wheel cylinders. And hopefully I don't have to rebuild those. But it definitely needs shoes all the way around. Clutch master, I rebuilt that. And the clutch slave cylinder, I bought a brand new one. So the master cylinder is installed, slave cylinder needs to go in. Got a bunch of vacuum fittings on the engine that need to be plugged. This thing had all the smog stuff still on it, so I took all that off when I first got it, and a few things left to be plugged. Shift linkage was disconnected for some reason at the transfer case and at the transmission, so I'm not sure why. I'm gonna put it back together, and I'll probably find out why when I try to drive it. We'll see about that. I need to put a speedometer cable on. I have one of those ready to go. So exhaust gaskets. You can see by that smoke when it came out when I started it that it was all coming out around the exhaust manifold, and I could hear it. Also, when I was standing on that side of the engine, I could hear all the exhaust leaks. So that exhaust gasket's shot. Hopefully there's not much more than that. But we'll see. I'm going to get in there and dig around. So we got a few things on the list. All right. That means more videos to come, right? Okay, great. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. I get a lot of people watching these videos, and not so many of them are subscribed. I am trying to hit 1,000 subscribers at some point, just to see if I could ever reach that. Please put some comments. I'd like to hear what you think, and that's about that knock. Starting to look like we're heading towards an engine teardown. I wasn't hoping for that, obviously, but we'll see. All right. Really appreciate you watching. Thanks for coming around, and we'll see you next time. All right.